From the KELOLAND Digital Desk, I'm meteorologist Scott Mundt, and this is Weather or Not for Thursday, September 18th. Here's our outline. The slow-moving low-pressure system will continue to monitor that as we go over the next couple of days, as we'll continue with our rain chances for today. A lot of it found in central, north-central South Dakota. We'll have scattered showers, isolated thunder showers across eastern KELOLAND. We'll talk about our weekend forecast as we do have clearing skies on the way. Colder air coming. Maybe not in September. Probably the first couple of days of October. That's the way things are looking right now. And the snow trend. We'll take a look at some of those latest numbers. And I just reminded myself talking about that I need to bring up our website that we like to look at when it comes to snow. But more on that in a bit. Here's what we have on Futurecast. This is during the afternoon. Now, we've had the widespread rain in central and north-central South Dakota this morning. Notice how a lot of that tries to go away as we get into the later part of the afternoon and evening, but it holds at least that chance for a scattered shower or thunderstorm as we go into the evening hours. And you see how that is widely scattered across eastern South Dakota, Minnesota, and northwestern Iowa. And then as we get into the overnight, we'll just hold that 30, maybe 40% chance for these showers, thunder showers to roll across central and eastern South Dakota. Our forecast today, look at the cool air. Temperatures in the 60s, 70s may show up in southeastern KELOLAND. I know we've had some clearing during the morning hours across eastern, southeastern KELOLAND with that dry punch of air that comes in around the low-pressure system. So we've been able to bring in at least a little bit of clearing in southeastern South Dakota during the morning hours. So numbers may hit the 70s. Then we have 60s in central and western KELOLAND, 65 in western South Dakota today in Rapid City, and we'll probably have some sunshine during the afternoon. And then for tonight, temperatures will range from 47 in Rapid City. We have middle, maybe low 50s in central South Dakota. And across eastern KELOLAND, we'll go with temperatures in the 50s to near 60 degrees. We'll talk about the slow-moving low-pressure system and the rainfall amounts coming up as we continue with Weather or Not. Welcome back to Weather or Not. Before we talk about this slow-moving low-pressure system and our rainfall amounts, we got an email, and it wasn't a pleasant one at that. Here we go. Do you guys ever think you should find a new profession? I guess why would you? Can be wrong 100% of the time and still have a job. Sure glad we got all that moisture the last few days. I don't think you could forecast your way out of a wet paper bag. Have you been in a wet paper bag? It's dark. With my eyesight, I probably can't get out myself. Let's go ahead and talk about this slow-moving low-pressure system as we'll continue with periods of rain, especially in the central, north-central South Dakota, where we've been receiving a lot of rainfall. And we'll go through a couple of those numbers coming up here in just a bit. As we do take a look at Futurecast, and we'll go a little farther in time with this too. As we get into tomorrow, notice how a lot of that rain's trying to set up across eastern South Dakota and the northeastern KELOLAND. That was a look at the slow-moving low-pressure system, so it'll take until we get into Saturday to actually get that low out of here. And before it does, we'll continue with mostly cloudy skies, periods of rain. This is a look at things during the evening hours where things can be scattered in eastern South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa. We'll hold that theme as we do get into the overnight hours. And that's what you see here on Futurecast with our scattered showers, isolated thunder showers. As we get into tomorrow, this is looking interesting. It's trying to hold things along the James River Valley and areas to the east. That's at midday for tomorrow. So we'll watch our rain, isolated thunder showers embedded in there across eastern KELOLAND for tomorrow. Then as we get into the afternoon and evening, Futurecast is thinking that things will slowly start to break, while central and western South Dakota will probably have a decrease in cloud cover as we go later in the day for tomorrow. We'll try to bring in clearing skies across eastern KELOLAND for the first half of the weekend, and I think that trend will continue as we get into Sunday. Now, these are just rainfall estimates, and I'll have a look at more concrete numbers coming up here in just a bit. But as we do take a look at some of these rainfall estimates, a lot of it showing up in north-central South Dakota, in and around Mobridge. You take that area to the west and to the southwest, Anywhere you see purple, well, that's 5 inches or more, easily. And this is over the past week. 2.5 as an estimate there in Pierre. And you see across western South Dakota, it's been ranging anywhere from an inch, maybe an inch and a half, Rapid City down toward Hot Springs. Eastern and southeastern KELOLAND. Now, this is the area that's been missing out. But you may have been able to get lucky, get caught underneath maybe a thunderstorm that developed over the past couple of days, able to get some heavier downpours as long as you didn't get any flooding. I think that was a good thing. But again, it's more widely scattered in eastern and southeastern KELOLAND as compared to central to north central South Dakota. And I think that trend will continue as we go through the next 24, 48 hours. These scattered chances for showers and thunder showers across eastern South Dakota. Here's a look at the rain amounts dating back Monday through Wednesday. So not taking in account anything that fell during the overnight hours and into this morning. This is just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we'll probably look at some of these numbers over the next couple of days and have some high totals to show you. But look at winter. Nice to see some heavier rains fall in south central South Dakota in winter, just shy of 3 inches. Here coming in at over 2.5, and that, again, is a 3-day total. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You see Lemon coming in about 1 1/3 inches. And Rapid City, we have about 3/4 of an inch. Now, dating back since Saturday, so this is Saturday through Wednesday, to the northwest of Mobridge, just over 6 inches of rainfall. Now, Mobridge itself officially at 5.04 inches. You see Pierre coming in at about 3 3/4, and the total so far for winter, no, I guess the total is for Saturday through Wednesday in winter at 3. But stay with that Mobridge idea, coming in at over 5 inches. I did some checking. It's the wettest September on record, and we still have, 2 weeks left in the month. We'll continue to tally up whatever we get today to add to that. And those records, some of them, not all years were taken, but they can date back to 1911 in Mobridge. So the wettest September on record that I can find for the Mobridge area. The average, the climate average in September in Mobridge is a little bit over 1.5 inches. So we're well above that already. And again, we'll continue to add to that amount. You can see we're at 339% of September average as we look at the Mobridge area. So a lot of rain has fallen not only in north central South Dakota, but it has also extended into central KELOLAND. Stay with us. We'll talk about the weekend forecast coming up. You're watching the latest edition of Weather or Not. Here we are on a Thursday, and the weekend is just about here. So let's talk about your weekend forecast. The slow-moving low-pressure system will move out of the area as we do get into this weekend. There may be some lingering showers behind it. That's up for debate. Wouldn't be surprised we get into the weekend forecast with any information that comes out if we have that 20, maybe 30% chance for a scattered shower or two, mainly across eastern South Dakota into Minnesota and northwestern Iowa. Temperatures will be close to average, maybe a little bit below average in eastern and northeastern South Dakota, mainly due to cloud cover, any showers that we may have in the area, keeping those temperatures down. So you see, as we get into the late afternoon, early evening, we'll still hold the temperatures in the 70s for western, central, and south central South Dakota. Probably because the clouds do linger a little longer. I mentioned the chances for rain that we can have across eastern KELOLAND, that the numbers will be a little cooler. And as we do get into the evening for Saturday, I think we'll lose a lot of the energy. Low pressure continues to move away from us. We'll have the sun set. We'll probably see drying skies as we do get into the evening hours. So I'm a little suspect of this on Sunday afternoon. This is something new that's come in southeastern South Dakota on Sunday. We'll see if we can generate a scattered shower or thunderstorm into that location. Otherwise, looks like dry skies and warming temperatures in western South Dakota. Notice how those numbers do return to the 80s in western KELOLAND for Sunday. We'll see how much cloud cover's around, if we do have any rain that we need to throw in there for Sunday in eastern and southeastern South Dakota. We'll play with those numbers, probably closer to average, numbers in the, we'll say, middle 70s for highs in eastern KELOLAND on Sunday. Now, we're also looking at the possibility for this colder air to return It's something that we've been talking about, I would say, for the past couple of weeks. Let's go ahead and go to our graphics machine. Looking at the 500 millibar level, more or less cutting the atmosphere in half, where the lows are, the highs, troughs, ridges, what have you. We have our system moving out, another one trying to move in early next week that can bring us some scattered showers, maybe isolated thunder showers. And then do you notice, maybe hard to see, but how that one just sits here and spins into the central part of the United States for a couple of days, and then it slowly leaves the area maybe by the time we do get into next weekend. And then we do have a couple of things working to our north. There's going to be a ridge that tries to build across the northwestern United States. Here's a trough here across the northeast, and these may work together to bring in a shot of some colder air. So that is something that we're watching for. Beginning of October is the time frame for that. This is next week. Here's that low pressure that comes in from the northwest. I mentioned how this sits in the central United States for several days before finally exiting the area, as it is cut off from the main steering currents. So that will eventually leave the area during the last couple of days of the month. We'll watch that ridge try to move in across the northwestern United States. So we do have that going. As we get into maybe the first couple of days of October, I thought I changed the view, but I'll go ahead and manually change it here. So these two systems may end up working together to bring in some below average temperatures that we'll have to watch as we do get into maybe the first couple of days of October. Notice how those will try to work together to bring in that cooler or colder air, depending on how you want to look at it. I have a lot to talk about with our snow trend, fog, and our summer pattern. That's something we'll talk about coming up in just a bit. The snow trend, as I'll go over a couple of things I did yesterday with this thick fog theory, just to keep this fresh in your mind. What I'm looking at are days where we had quarter-mile visibility and less. Coming into Sioux Falls, I'll go through Sioux Falls, Aberdeen, and Pierre. So going back to July, and we go July 30th, we had visibility less than a quarter mile in and around Sioux Falls. You add 90 days to that. That takes us to October 28th. And then, as you can see, we had another one August 19th and September 10th. So then we're looking at November 17th and 9th. And there may have been a couple of other fog days in there, but it wasn't thick. And I just wanted to, distinguish here. On those days that we had thick fog, we'll go out 90 days from then, and we'll see what happens. Some type of precipitation may fall, or close to 90 days. That may happen. So just keep those dates in mind, and I'll continue to visit this topic, of course, here on Whether or Not. Here's a look at Aberdeen, July 24th, and then we have 2 days here, August 18th and 19th, back-to-back, coming in a quarter mile less visibility, August 27th and 28th. So if this theory is correct, it could be busy come the middle to the end of November, and of course, that's getting close to Thanksgiving. So the first one comes in here October 22nd, and then we're talking November 17th, 18th, and then again on the 25th and 26th. One more city to take a look at. I believe I have Pierre here as dates of fog going to a quarter mile visibility or less, July 24th, and a couple of days there beginning of August. So we're looking at the tail end of October 22nd, and then the beginning of November. So we'll see if it gets a little busy by the time we do get into the end of October and the beginning of November. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be all snow. Of course not. We're just saying any type of precipitation. We'll see what's going on with our temperatures if it's cold enough to support snow. So there's a look at some of the latest data there with the fog theory. Snow depth, not much to talk about. We do have some here into the Rockies, but really not much to speak of. Looks like it is a little less than what we had yesterday in Colorado. So what's going on over the next 2 weeks? Well, as this goes forward in time, it tries to add at least a little bit of snow there into Colorado, extending up toward maybe Wyoming. And then we have, of course, on either side of Canada. Let me go ahead and change that view. This is starting to fill in too, isn't it? That's a little different than what we've been showing over the past couple of days, that it is starting to fill in with snow chances here well to our north into Canada. So the Great White North, we'll see if we're able to fill in some snow into those locations. But I do want to talk about the pattern again. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. Not quite the pattern. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Here's our 45-day trend here, for looking at maybe the first couple of flakes of snow. So we've been showing this since the end of August, and we'll continue to show it on a daily basis. But what I want to do here, just to show you what's going on, here's your time frame on the bottom of the screen. I'm moving the cursor along with it, and we have 100 members of the European model that we're looking at that's trying to spit out some snow. So as we continue through time, I do break it up to the 10th of October, 20th, and then the 30th of October as to how many of these 100 members are saying that we'll have snow, at least a couple of flakes of snow by that time. So then that goes back to this graphic. I've updated this since yesterday, and I have an Excel sheet that I keep behind the scenes, and I'll try to update it daily just to see what the trend is as we do go forward in time. So here's a look at those latest numbers. 2 members out of the 100 say some type of snow before October 10th, and then it goes up to 9 on the 20th, and then 26 by the 30th of October. And then I throw in Rapid City. In fact, let me go ahead and bring this back up, and I'll change the station, the city identifier, to Rapid City, and look how much of that fills in. A lot of members trying to bring in some snow, and that's typical too when you think about it. Western South Dakota, higher elevations of the hills, they typically start to get their snow season going maybe as early as September. We know that's happened before. And then especially by the time we do get into October, as that colder air continues to come on in. So looking at Rapid City, those numbers are a little higher. Through the 10th, we have 43 of 100 members suggesting that, sure, we can get measurable snow. And then when you look at the 20th of October, it jumps to 72. And then by the 30th, it goes up to 86. Now, those numbers for Sioux Falls are real close to what we've had over the past couple of days. They may have changed by 1, maybe 2 members, but they really haven't changed much. The one thing I've noticed in Rapid City is those numbers are going up by as many as maybe 5 to 7 new members, suggesting that we can see measurable snow by those dates. So that's a trend that is going up, trying to support maybe seeing some measurable snow by the time we do get into the middle or the later part of October, especially across western KELOLAND and Rapid City. Keep that in mind. Something else to keep in mind is this pattern that we had during the summer. It's kind of a 40 to maybe 45-day cycle when we've been following this colder air that's been trying to come in across the upper plains. And I talked a little bit about that earlier during today's Whether or Not, and I'll talk about it again coming up here in just a bit, as we're on this 40, maybe 45-day cycle. So if this continues, by the time we get into early October, we can have a push of some much colder air that can come in maybe that first week to maybe week and a half of October. So keep that in mind. Here, maybe I can just do this. No, not that one, this one. Like this. So have a couple of things that I've been thinking about. The snow trend, of course, with our cooler temperatures as we go later into fall. We have, the climatic averages going down, more frequent hits of colder air. You would think that, but we're not in that pattern as of yet. But sooner or later, you would think that we will break that pattern. But think about this. We have this slow-moving cutoff low-pressure system right now, September 18th, 19th. Okay, this is moving through the upper plains, cut off by the main steering currents of the jet. We have that. We've had some morning fog. Did you see that this morning? Across eastern South Dakota. I know Sioux Falls went down to about a mile visibility. We also had some areas close to a mile or 2 in northeastern and southeastern KELOLAND. So let's count out 90 days from that. That will take us to December 17th. All right, I did the math for you. Okay, we'll see if that pattern repeats. Let's go back to that. Okay, slow-moving, cut-off low-pressure system. We'll move out of the area by Saturday, but it's been here since, Wednesday night. slow moving. We've had a lot of moisture with it across western, central, and northern KELOLAND. We've had the morning fog. Okay, we're on this maybe 40 to 45 day cycle. If it's as many as 45 days, then bam, we're right there. 90 days out from fog, we can expect some type of precipitation. Let's bring up that calendar again. Takes us out to December 17th. So I already have it circled. We'll see if we get any type of precipitation by that time. Just something to think about as we end our latest edition of weather.